Now, before we even get to the emails and the meetings and the really wild stuff, you gotta understand something first, because this story doesn't start with Jeffrey Epstein. It starts with money. Specifically, it starts with a company called Apollo Global Management. If you've never heard of Apollo Global, that's kind of the point. They don't want you to know who they are, but a basketball journalist named Henry Abbott over at True Hoop has been covering this connection for years, and he calls Apollo the NBA's most important source of cash. And let me explain why. Apollo Global was founded in 1990 by a group of guys who all came from the same place, a now dead Wall Street firm called Drexel Burnham Lambert. And when I tell you the founders of Apollo Global basically bought up the NBA, I am not exaggerating. Josh Harris, co-founder of Apollo, bought the Philadelphia 76ers for $280 million. Tony Ressler, another co-founder, bought the Atlanta Hawks in 2015 for $850 million. And get this, Tony Ressler's sister, Deborah, is married to Leon Black, the guy who is Apollo's founder, chairman, and CEO. According to True Hoop, even the banker who raised the money for Tillman Fertitta to buy the Houston Rockets came from Drexel Burnham Lambert, that same firm that birthed Apollo. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver's college roommate at Duke is a guy named Jim Zelter. You know what Jim Zelter does for a living? He's the president of Apollo Global Management. Sports Illustrated profiled Silver and confirmed their close relationship going back to their freshman dorm room. Apollo's offices are literally around the corner from the NBA's headquarters in Manhattan. These aren't distant connections. These people are in each other's lives, at each other's events, making each other richer. So when I tell you that the founder of Apollo paid Jeffrey Epstein $158 million, and now it might actually be $170 million according to the Senate Finance Committee, and that Apollo is the financial engine of the NBA's ownership class, you start to see why this matters so much. Leon Black paid Jeffrey Epstein more money than most NBA teams were worth at the time. Think about that, guys. The Sixers sold for $280 million. Leon Black paid Epstein $170 million. $170 million to a guy who wasn't even a licensed tax attorney or CPA. And when reporters asked Black about it, his defense was basically that he's so rich that he didn't even notice. His exact excuse was that $158 million doesn't mean that much when you're worth $14.4 billion. Dude, I couldn't make that up if I even tried. And it gets even worse. Senator Ron Wyden's investigation found evidence suggesting that the money Black paid to Epstein was actually used to finance Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking operations. The Senate Finance Committee also discovered that a major US bank waited 7 years to report Black's payments to the Treasury Department, which might violate federal money laundering laws. This isn't just shady, this could be criminal. And the man at the center of it founded the company that owns the Sixers and the Atlanta Hawks. Black stepped down from Apollo in 2021 after all of this came to light. But here's the thing, he didn't go to jail. He didn't get banned from NBA events. He just left. And the company he built kept on financing the NBA like nothing happened. Now, Apollo is in the background. That's the infrastructure. But the Epstein files dropped in January of 2026 and put NBA connected names on the front pages. And the biggest one is Josh Harris. Josh Harris owns the Philadelphia 76ers, the Washington Commanders, the New Jersey Devils, Crystal Palace in England, and a new WNBA franchise in Philly. The man is everywhere. The Philadelphia Inquirer reported that Harris had an ongoing business relationship with Epstein that included multiple phone calls and at least one visit to Epstein's home in Manhattan. And all of this happened after Epstein's 2008 guilty plea for soliciting prostitution from a minor. Let me walk you through the timeline because the details are crazy. In October of 2013, Epstein's schedulers sent an email confirming that Leon Black, Josh Harris, and a billionaire named Mark Rowan would all go to Epstein's home at 9 East 71st Street in Manhattan for a breakfast meeting. That's the same townhouse that became infamous during the Epstein investigation. The three richest guys in private equity just casually having breakfast at a convicted offender's house. Then in late 2014, Epstein invited Harris to another breakfast, this time with Bill Gates. The email from Epstein's team literally said that the breakfast would be intimate, less than 6 people. Harris emailed Epstein directly asking about it. "What's this Bill Gates thing about? Thanks for thinking about me." Epstein responded telling him to call and that it would be nothing but fun. After that breakfast happened, Epstein followed up asking Harris if he had fun. And Harris replied, "Yes, very much. Thank you for inviting me. Now, Harris's spokesperson told Front Office Sports that Harris never had an independent relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and that he sought to prevent Epstein's attempt to develop a corporate relationship with Apollo. But the email tells a much different story. Guys, you don't email a convicted sex offender saying,
"Thanks for thinking about me, and yes, thank you very much for inviting me."
You don't do that if you're trying to